What is up, Bucs Nation? It is May 9th, 2024, and you're watching the Loose Cannons podcast. I'm your boy Sammer, hanging out with Stank tonight. There is no Poppy Latte because he's taking the missus out for an early Mother's Day dinner, and that's well-deserved. Because if any of you out there know what mothers have to go through on a daily basis, you understand that one day a year probably ain't enough. But hey, if they get to choose when they're going to go to dinner on that night, Stank, what do you say? I'm pretty sure you just say yes.
I mean, is it like a euphemism? Taking her out for dinner? A little early?
Hey, mate. Could be a short-lived dinner then, yeah? More like an appetizer for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it takes, bro. I get full easy these days.
You're a Mother's Day appetizer guy. You're not a Mother's Day dinner guy.
You know, there's a lot of thought and a lot of effort, and we put a lot in to impress and to make our wives happy. And then on Father's Day, they don't care, bro. We have
to grill our own food on Father's Day. Is how it works.
Yeah. It's like a second Mother's Day if you think about it.
Yeah, it's a little off. Yeah. It's a bit unfair.
Yeah, life's unfair, Sammer. I don't know if you know that by now. What are you, like 32 or whatever? How old you are. All right. As you get older, the more you understand. Nobody gives a shit. You're not a victim. Nobody cares. It just is. That's it. We're born, we die. Nobody gives a fuck. All right. Buccaneer talk. I'm positive today, bro. Can't wait to talk about this football team. What's today's date? It's May. Football's just right around the corner. We only have 3 months of nothing. And
only 90 days. Only about 90 days or so. Yeah.
90 days, dude.
It's going to go by like nothing. Yeah. So listen, this show is now powered by Omni Energy. You guys got to check them out. Google Omni Energy Drink. They are available in Florida at different 7-Elevens and grocery stores, and also online to the entire world. And listen, I'm not saying this just to say this. They are fantastic. They are fucking delicious. Better than Celsius. No, I'm just going to say it. They are better than Celsius. They are delicious. Yeah. I mean, they are, zero sugar, 10 calories per can. Natural caffeine derived from green tea leaves. Unbelievable flavor, like I said, and they make you feel great. No crash afterwards. Check them out. Show them some love. And, of course, don't forget to show us some love. Leave a comment or, cuss Stank out. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you did like this video at the end of the day. But in the meantime, listen, we've got Liam Cohen on the screen right next to your face, Stank, okay? Look like you guys could possibly be related in some fashion or another. Probably more related than you would know, but we're going to wipe him away, and we have the Omni Energy rundown of topics. And Stank, we're going to start right at the very top, something that you love to talk about. Are the Bucs going to get a run game upgrade this year?
Already did.
Wow.
Already did. Listen, upgrading the offensive line means upgrading the run game. Let's just start there. It had nothing to do with the lack of talent at the running back position, depth-wise, yeah, probably. But Rashad is an RB1. And then I think we added a nice RB2, potentially a guy that can do a whole lot for you. You can play, be a weapon in the passing game, be a hell of a third down weapon. He's going to have to prove he can block. And once he does that, I can't stop watching his highlight videos. By the way, what do you think of this? You got Bucky, you got Rashad, right? You got Buckshad, right? Right? Buckshot?
I don't like that.
No.
I don't like that. So Liam Cohen, all right, favorite coach right now on our team currently. I'm sorry, no offense, Todd Bowles, but he's currently my favorite Bucs assistant coach. I will say that right off the bat. He had a press conference, and he talked about how they have to upgrade the run game, Stank. And you know what they said? And listen, I think there's some shots being fired throughout a lot of these interviews that we've seen over the last couple of days from these offensive coaches, taken directly at Dime Piece Dave. Maybe too pretty to be a good coach in the NFL. Possibly. We'll get into that later. That's a couple topics down. But in the meantime, he said that we're going to have to be more multiple. We're going to have to show more options in the run game, not continually run the same thing over and over again, just to different sides. And also, let's give our guys options in the huddle and then at the line of scrimmage to change from a run to a pass or to change what type of run they go. He said 3 plays in the huddle, which makes me believe that they were not getting 3 plays with Dime Piece Dave, right? There's just if you read between the lines there. And it felt very fresh to hear him talk about this because he said that a lot of the problems weren't necessarily talent, but more so how things were schemed up and called and the position that he's putting these guys in. And he was, talked up Rashad said Rashad's taken any of the criticisms they've given him, that he's given him since he's gotten here. He's come in, and anytime they've worked with him, he's shown that he's working on those things, on those issues, and improving. And they said we want to be shot out of a cannon, quote unquote, once the ball's in our hands as running backs. Hit the line hard, go through the line hard, fast. And he just kind of emphasized stuff that we complained about all last year.
You don't typically see me come to Dime Piece Dave's defense. I think what we saw last year was kind of a remedial offense, based on what we had to work with up front. Who knows? That could be one of the reasons that we just stayed so vanilla up front with the run game. But it comes at a cost, right? It just wasn't successful. They knew what was coming. We couldn't just man-on-man beat guys. And Rashad was getting destroyed in the backfield half the time and having to make chicken salad out of chicken livers, okay? And
hold on, you look like you eat chicken. Are you a chicken liver guy?
No, I'm not.
You look like a chicken liver guy.
I do look like a chicken liver guy.
You agree with that, though? You understand what I mean when I say that to you? You understand what I mean when I say that? Like, you look like a chicken liver guy? Okay.
I know exactly what you mean by that comment, and I take that as a compliment, that I look like a chicken liver guy, which is a delicacy, right? It's a delicacy, and that just means I'm highbrow. A lot of people out there don't even know what chicken livers are.
What's the opposite of delicacy? Like, what is that word?
Let's ask ChatGPT.
It should be like a felicacy.
I'm gonna ask ChatGPT live.
Sounds like filet. But listen,
what's the opposite of delicacy?
That's the thing, Stank. I think if you listen to Liam Cohen, he kind of speaks about how they are going to improve up front because of the guys that they added. Obviously, we're going to talk about Graham Barton and the comments he made about him, and obviously the big dude they got out of I can't remember the name of school. Damn, that's terrible. And of course, he talked a little bit about Hainsey, and he talked about the guys that we picked up in free agency as well for that left guard position, and he talked more so about how we can put these guys in a better position with better play calling, better sequencing, and of course, giving them more options. And so I'm curious because you're not a Baker guy, right? Not initially, at least.
I'm a believer now.
Yeah, now you're
a Baker bro now. I think he still has to fend off Kyle Trask. I think Kyle. Did you hear? I know you didn't listen to every single one of the new offensive coaches' press conferences, but he's not even new. Thad Lewis talk about how impressive Kyle Trask has been. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time on it. Baker's our guy, right? But he better watch his back, bro. Okay. I told you earlier in the season, I bumped into Kyle at Home Depot. Me and Kyle were walking around, we're shopping for hardware together, looking at lumber. And he's put together well. He's focused.
You got that from interactions at Lowe's or Home Depot.
Home Depot, bro. Who shops at Lowe's? Nobody shops at Lowe's. Nobody.
No. If you go to Lowe's, and you're automatically going to know more than anyone who works there, no matter how well versed you are as a handyman or not. If you don't know tools or do know tools, you automatically know more than any of those employees. But anyway, I was going to say, how do you feel about Baker having more responsibility at the line of scrimmage, pre-snap, in terms of the run game, identifying when a run is no longer going to be a good option, or that specific run is no longer going to be a good option, and switching over it? Remember last year we complained so often that they just seem to be running into these heavy loaded boxes. Pause. And it was obvious that the play was not going to work, but they would still run the play, and we almost questioned if they were even giving Baker the freedom to make an audible, or if they weren't trusting him. And now we hear this comment that we need to give them more options. So it makes it sound like they weren't giving those options.
Yeah, we know that wasn't the case now. They were running the play. And Baker couldn't just ad-lib. And I'm sure there were situations, probably more so in the passing game than the run game, where Baker had some options. I mean, no quarterbacks going in there and not having any audibles, but sounds like they were limited. And if you don't practice it during the week, you can't just call it in the huddle. So yeah, they were just running their head into the wall over and over and over again. And thankfully, we have a back that can make some things happen. And at the times we did have some blocks, he had some decent runs, but I think we're going to see something completely different now. We're not going to be in heavy as much. We'll be in 11 a whole lot more, which will means there's less hats to the party, right? They got to look for all kinds of movement, quick passing game, crossers, guys lining up where they're not supposed to be, mismatches, all the things that everybody else in the NFL does. If you look at the best offenses, that's just what they do. And they use their talent like it should be used. And in this case, we've got a lot of talent on offense. And if we can just block up front and give Baker some time and give Rashad some room, we should see an improvement.
We should see an improvement also if they add some more creativity to how they call those blocks, how they scheme up what guys do, because you can scheme around weaknesses. We see guys do it all the time. We saw the Rams, who have pretty much a makeshift offensive line over the last few years since the Super Bowl year, and they still manage to run the ball pretty effectively when they want to because they can scheme around it. The Niners do it consistently, I think, better than anyone in the league, probably them and the Dolphins. But the Dolphins have lost some guys too, but they've also had some dudes at running back. But that kind of goes to our next point, or the next topic, which is Graham Barton. They touched on it. Is he going to be a guard? Is he going to be a center? And then they also talked about his added responsibility as a center in this offense, making calls at the line, making communication at the line with the rest of these guys. So not only is he becoming, or going from being a college tackle who played center a couple of years ago, now he's becoming an NFL, or hoping to be an NFL center, Stank, who's got to learn the nuances of the speed of the NFL, how fast those things happen, also snapping the ball at the same time while reading all those things, and now being responsible for the other guys next to you, the guy behind you, and understanding how to read the defense down the field and communicating all that before the snap of the ball, which, by the way, is almost ridiculously insane in itself, because when you snap the ball, you got to get back up too and do your job on top of everything.
Yeah, center's smartest guys on the field at sometimes. I mean, quarterback, it's an argument, right? But yes, he has all those responsibilities. Kevin Carberry, the offensive line coach, essentially alluded to the fact that he's going to play center. And if this guy doesn't shit the bed, and he's capable and he can get up to speed with this new offense, because it's a new offense for everybody, at least new verbiage for everyone. So, that brings him and Hainsey a little bit closer together in regards to having to jump off from the same point. Hainsey has the edge right now, but I think Graham is probably going to show that he's the better option. But it's not decided, right? You got to get into camp. They got to get pads on. He's got to face Vita Vea in practice every single day and get his ass whooped in this heat every single day. And that's going to be telling. Kancey, it's going to be trial by fire right here. We don't have to face other teams for us to be able to see what this kid can do. And that's a benefit as well. Supply and demand in the chat said, back to what we were talking about with Baker. Baker's biggest goal is to up his completion percentage. It was 30th in the league last year. Yeah, it's going to be harder for a quarterback and to be more efficient without a run game and having to, essentially
throw into expected
exactly throw at expected times, tighter windows. The defense can be on their heels, and it just makes it much more difficult. And the down and distance isn't typically in your favor. And so if you bring that back to reality, and by the way, if we can convert in the run game on 3rd and 2, which we can never do, that's helpful as well, instead of having to throw the ball in those situations too, which is really tough when everybody's playing press. We don't necessarily have the guys with the foot speed to get off press right away and have super open windows. So all those things, I think, along with the movement, are going to help this offense, hit defenses in unexpected ways versus just, it's going to give them more.
It's going to give them more answers pre-snap, Stank. They're going to have more answers, and I think they didn't get enough answers with the way Canales did things, because he didn't run a lot of motion. And when he did, the offense looked dynamically better. But when they didn't, obviously it looked like everything was, trying to run through quicksand, or the defense always seemed to know what was coming. But back to the point about Graham, Liam made comments as, we're going to start him at center in terms of the competition. We're going to try him at center and have him roll from there and see how he picks it up. And it's going to be between him and Hainsey. And right now, like you said, Hainsey obviously has the leg up. But in this scenario that he does not pick it up quick enough because he is a rookie and he hasn't played center in a couple years, they would be sliding him into the competition at guard. But in both instances, I don't remember which reporter asked him, but they asked him about the batted balls and how not having a Ryan Jensen type guy who can kind of stymie the defense up the middle and kind of, withstand some of that rush to help Baker, how that is now going to change. And he mentioned that we've gotten stronger, we've gotten meaner, we've gotten a little thicker where it matters up front to help Baker with some of that. But then he also talked about how there's ways to do that with the offensive line and what you do and what you have them actually do responsibility-wise in terms of their hands, how they attack the defenders to keep those batted balls from happening, which is something that a lot of people blame the quarterback for, but no one has ever thought maybe it's the offensive coordinator's fault, or maybe it's the scheme, or maybe it's how they're coaching these guys to, make up for what that defender is trying to do. And so that was a big point I like to hear from Liam when he talked about, we're going to have these guys do their best to eliminate that, because he said at Kentucky he had the same problem with his quarterback.
Yeah, when you have to watch guys open because you know your first, second, third read, you typically know where you're going to go with the ball just based on your experience, into the season. It makes it a little bit easier for defenders to get a read on you too. That goes for defensive linemen. He's still going to get some batted balls. He's a shorter quarterback in the pocket, but they can eliminate some of that by just keeping the defense guessing. And yeah, if we're way more physical up front, then defenders aren't going to have the opportunity. They're going to be fighting more than they are, trying to, get a read on what's going on. And, and hopefully we're in positions where, we have leads too. We don't play with a lot of leads. Most of our games were tight games. And so that makes a difference as well on both sides of the ball, by the way. Defensive linemen love playing with leads. Corners love playing with leads. You make the other team one-dimensional and what's coming at them. And that's no different for our offense having to face, that same scenario from an offensive standpoint. So, yeah, I'm sure there are ways. I'm not an offensive line coach.
Liam touched on it.
We got new blood in there. Yeah, Liam did touch on it. And, and so I'm sure there are lots of ways that you can help, with that particular situation with the batted balls.
Yeah, he talked about how they're going to be the ones that basically initiate that contact as opposed to what we were doing, I think, last year, which is kind of waiting for the defender to hit us first. We're going to be the ones punching them in the mouth before they get a chance to. And again, Stank, if you have a run game, right, and you're not in obvious passing downs almost every single situation you're in, then the defense can't run and jump or can't run and anticipate that there's going to be a quick 3-step, 4-step, 5-step drop and they time it because they don't know what's coming. If you can keep them on their heels like you're talking about, they got to play both the run and the pass. And if they're jumping up trying to, bat down a ball thinking it's a 3-step drop, you're running right past them with Bucky on a delayed handoff or a draw play. So I think some of that goes into that too. Like let's keep them on their heels and let's see if they can guess. And if they guess, we're going to make sure we punch them first in the mouth. What was the thing that we heard all the time when we watched Madden call plays was if a defensive lineman does something, you hit him right in his gut, and he won't do it again. If he comes by you, you give him that elbow, I guarantee he's not going to do that again if you get him in the rib. You put that chip on that edge rusher, hard enough a couple of times, he's going to stop doing what he's doing. So I think some of that mentality now comes with Liam, which I'm excited about because I don't feel like we had some of that. I'm not saying that Dime Piece Dave didn't want to punch people in the mouth and be physical, but it feels like Liam just wants to be an asshole out there. He wants a team to be an asshole.
He definitely has that orneriness to him.
He's a dick. Yeah, you can tell he's a dick.
Rashad told us, by the way, that he's not a game player. He's not going to, put his arm around you. He's a tough old school kind of guy, and he's got a little attitude to him. That's our favorite kind of coach, right? That's why we love BA so much. So having a guy like there in that locker room who's not going to, there's benefit to having the calm, cool, collected, Dungy type teacher who just never gets too high, never gets too low. Dave had success. He's a great teacher. I think everybody would agree. But when it comes to keeping guys accountable, and being more tough on your guys and expecting more and holding them to a standard, the guys like that typically fall short of that. So what did Rashad say to us when we first talked? This guy's gonna be a head coach in this league. That's the first thing he said. So either don't get used to having him around because he's gonna be here for 1 year and probably get a coaching position somewhere, or maybe he's our future head coach. You never know. But he thinks that much of this guy, and that's just with limited exposure before they're in camp, before he's running. He likes the guy, he likes the offense, he loves the attitude, the confidence, and you can see, man, he's just got that swagger, and I love that. I love it.
Yeah, and the other thing too
He's
about
ugly as
Liam,
shit though.
yeah,
He is ugly.
yeah. Well,
But
we're
that's what
gonna
I
get
like
to
in
that.
my coaches.
We're gonna get to
Yeah.
that. So
Sorry.
Liam, the
Sorry.
other
I'm
thing
a
I was gonna
little ahead
say,
of the game.
he's a massive asshole, but for
Yeah.
him to say in that press conference that he has received from these players the attitude that there's a culture in this building that we all want to get better. We don't want to continue to be good. We want to be great, and we're here to learn. They bought into whatever he's teaching them right now, what he's installing at this phase. He said that I've gotten back the same energy I'm given these guys, which is massive because you know that everyone's bought in. Mike Evans came out to a camp that he's usually not gone to. So it's really cool to see all these guys out here working. He spoke so highly of Baker. Obviously, we'll get to that one in a little bit. But Stank, back to your point. And the point that's next on the board here is ugly coaches matter. And
Yeah, they do.
one of the biggest things that bothered us last year about Dave Canales, as stupid as this sounds, is that he was too fucking pretty. Like,
way too pretty.
If my coach has time for a skincare routine, there's something wrong. I want an ugly motherfucker out there. I want a guy that's so ugly, there are no distractions, even in his own home. Okay, the lady who's married to him, okay, may not even be looking his way. So I need that guy because that guy has time on his hands. All right, that guy's okay sleeping at the office because there's nothing waiting for him at home anyway. Doesn't matter. Probably doesn't have too much of a punch anyway if he is going home, right? So why not bring in the ugly coach? And you know what? Like you said, no offense to Liam, but that motherfucker's ugly, and that bodes well. I'm extremely confident, Stan. And you're our ugly coach expert on the show. So I'm going to let you take the mic here and explain to us, the graph, the table, how it all works in terms of ugly coaching to success. How does that all work hand in hand?
I'll tell you, Sam, last year at camp, we get a lot of access, and it was really cool. And me and Latte were standing around, we're talking, we're watching the guys come off the field, or come onto the field before practice. And all of a sudden we look over and there was Dime Piece Dave. And like those rom-com movies when everything blurs out in the background and you just see slow motion.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters around. He approached us. Huge hands, by the way. Holy shit.
But
the biggest hands I've ever seen on a human.
Super soft.
Yeah.
Very
super soft,
moisturized.
super supple. Both of those things.
Wow.
Flawless skin. And it was a distraction. I forgot why we were even there. It took me 30 minutes to bring myself back to reality. And I don't want that for the players. Like, imagine you're Baker in the huddle, right? And you got Dime Piece Dave in your ear and you look over and you just see, I'm sure, how many plays last year did we not make because the guys were distracted? Dave there.
Stank, when he walked up to us, did you not feel like you were in a Dior cologne commercial?
Yeah.
Like I was waiting at the end of the interaction for it to go, de toilette. I was waiting for that because it felt like he was coming off the beach. Yeah. He was glistening. He had that Johnny Bravo cartoon glimmer in his teeth when he looked at us. He didn't even really say anything. He just looked at us, smiled, and I was like, oh shit, that's fucking, holy shit. Like we had goosebumps. We had butterflies.
We did. You and I, again, we get inside information. I heard that when Dave walked into David Tepper's office, Dave was like Bugs Bunny, right? His eyes were like, woo, 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 woo. Offered him the job on the spot. They didn't even have an interview, dude. That's how impressive he was.
I forgot they're both named Dave.
They are. One's a dime piece. One's an absolute troll.
Piece of shit, yeah.
Lives in the center of the earth. One of the worst humans on the planet. Just a piece of shit. And sometimes you need to offset that with some eye candy. And that's what Dave does for them. And thank God he's gone, right? Because now you got Liam over there, right? You just gotta, you look over, you're like, Jesus, I gotta focus on
this motherfucker shut the hell up. Yeah, I'll do it, coach. I got it.
Shut up. I don't want to look at him. I don't want to see him. I want to do my job.
You just want to do your job so you don't have to go back over there to look at him again. You don't want the ugly vibe that you're going to get. He looks like a guy, if he yells at you hard enough, you're going to break out into some sort of agony. Like, that's going to happen, right?
I was trying to get a read, in his press conference to stare at him. One of his eyes a little lower than the other. Something's off.
Oh, it's unbalanced. You know that test that you do where you take Angelina Jolie and you flip her face and she still looks like Angelina Jolie. Let's do that. Don't do that to Liam Cohen. Don't do it. Do not do it. By the way,
Liam, you're welcome on the show, bro.
Anytime.
You're welcome to come on with us. Chop it up. I'm ugly as shit too, bro. Me and you were born to be brothers and shit. So you're welcome on.
I mean, look, your face.
This is all love we're giving right here. So
look at your face right next to his face. I mean,
I'm sure you will. Face swapping. People probably won't even be able to tell.
I'm looking at it right now. It's literally on the screen. There's no way you guys are not related, bro. I mean, what? And aren't you a ginger as well?
Kinda. It's weird. I've been everything my whole life. I started out blonde, then I got ginger, then now I got red and black and silver. I don't know, bro. I don't know what I am. I'm all of it. All
Yeah.
of it.
Listen, okay, so one of the things that I want to talk about with you, because you're the one person that I talk to who every single time we talk about the defense, you
Yeah.
bring up Jamel Dean. You tell me
Yep.
how terrified you are of Jamel Dean
Mhm.
being the actual starting corner, and the opposite of
Yeah.
him, no idea who that guy is even.
No clue.
McCollum. Okay, you're terrified. You're losing sleep. No joke. So this week, apparently, a message has been sent to Jamel Dean. Not only have they brought in a guy who they think could be a starter in this, in this secondary, whether it's at McCollum's spot or maybe eventually Jamel Dean's, but they said, hey, how does Jamel Dean become better? How can we improve? He said, catch the fucking ball.
Yep.
How is that not a shot fired directly at a guy? And that's probably something they're trying to motivate him with, trying to get him on that jugs machine, trying to get him to make plays on the ball that matter in game. Because you saw what happened to Carlton Davis, who kind of had the same knock when he was healthy, didn't touch the ball very often, and when he had a chance, he usually dropped it. Where is he now, Stank?
Not here.
He's in that dumpster fire known as Detroit in terms of the city
Yeah.
guys, not the team. But he's gone. So Jamel Dean coming up on an opportunity for the Bucs if they really did want to jump that parachute off his contract. It's at the end of this season. So is that a message to Jamel Dean to figure this shit out, or you're probably going to be next?
100%. Jamel makes some plays, but I mean, he's way too casual out there. Just he's not a dog. I love him, bro. He's a big kid. We've hung out with him many, many times. He is just so chill. And you want to see some fire out there, some fight. You want to see him punch a guy in the face a little bit, get aggressive. I don't think he's got the best ball skills.
Yeah, but
He
sometimes
makes
he
up
doesn't
for a
even
lot.
he doesn't turn
Yeah.
around to look at the ball. Saying
No,
that's the
he
thing.
makes
Like,
up for a lot of that with his length. He is built different, man. He's really lanky. I think he's got pretty good recovery speed. And he's not a bad defender, but he's our CB1 now. So he's going to get the top receiver every game. Everybody else behind him is unproven, unknown. I get it. We brought in some competition. Zion to me also still never started. And he did start some games. I'm saying like never been the official starter, right? Never had the weight and the pressure of being that guy all the time. You're the guy. Hall, I think his name is, that we brought in as well to compete. So there are guys there, and maybe the cream rises to the top.
I think it's a very competitive room.
Us.
It's a very competitive room compared to what it used to be, Stank. And I think even McCollum, they're not giving him that job. He's gonna compete, and if he doesn't rise to the top, Bryce Hall is more than capable of being an outside corner and being a starter. And they also got the guy from Houston. Obviously, they drafted Tyke Smith, who I really, really like, who's going to see some sort of playing time, right? They have guys that they can interchange. But back to your point about Jamel Dean, he's got to make plays on balls, man. He just has to. And if he doesn't, he's probably the next guy to go. But here's what's crazy about him is he accidentally does make plays. That's what's he just doesn't turn his head around. And I wonder, if we go back to our point about ugly coaches matter, will Liam Cohen get under his skin from the sidelines? Will he be talking trash to a guy like that, saying that he's basically barbecue chicken to him? And nothing's gonna hurt your feelings more than an ugly guy telling a pretty guy, yourself, that you're barbecue like he's making fun of you. It's supposed to be the other way around. You know how it works in high school, Stank. The pretty guys make fun of the ugly guys, not the other way around. The pretty girls make fun of the ugly girls, like not the other way around. So you got an ugly guy, John at Jamel Dean, handsome man, all right. And the guy has no dog in him apparently sometimes.
That's what assholes do. You talked about, we're a huge asshole show here.
Massive.
And Liam is definitely a huge asshole. And there's a gaping hole in our secondary right now. And I think Liam's going to attack that over and over again. He's going to pound it. He's going to find the weakness. He's going to keep on going back to it. And I think Bowles probably wants him to do that, right? You want to test our guys on the other side, and Carlton's gone, so it's all on Jamel now to be that guy. I get so frustrated. We all do. We see it all season long. Like, why aren't we playing enough press man? Why aren't we playing press man? It comes down to Todd not trusting the pass rush first and foremost.
Yeah,
and then his guys to cover that long. Like, you're playing press, you don't have the ability to wait 5-6 seconds because you're going to get beat eventually. And so it has to be a concert. They got to work together. I think in order for us to see what Bowles' defense really is capable of, both need to be really, really good, and we got to stay healthy, and we got to get pressure without blitzing, and not have to do all this craziness. Which when you do that, when you're dropping ends and bringing corners and having to manufacture pressure all the time, you can't really do much but kind of stay vanilla on the backside.
Well, you're also going to leave a gap open because you're taking an extra person out, but you're hoping that you get to them before they can get take advantage of that hole or that open guy that you're leaving. More often than not, though, the Bucs have not gotten to the quarterback fast enough. Even when they do blitz, it seems that it's for nothing, and they're just giving away easy first downs, easy conversions, this and that, easy yardage. So somebody posted in the chat, I have more faith in Zion than Dean. So, Stank, if I were to ask you right now, before anything has happened, no pads, no training camp, haven't seen a single game from this 2024 squad, who do you trust more at corner? Zion McCollum or Jamel Dean right now? I don't know why you touched your camera. You were fine.
Sorry. I was looking a little dark. I mean, Jamel's got a Super Bowl ring, man. So you got to trust that he's got the experience. We're probably being harder. I know a lot of people love him. We're probably being a little harder on him than we need to be. But yeah, no, he's the one you have to trust. He's got to be that guy, man. He isn't. And my fears come to fruition, then we're in big trouble. Sorry, my light just went.
Perfect. Ready to say trouble? Light took shit. Listen, my thing is this thing. I give Jamel Dean criticism because I think Jamel Dean can be so much better because we have seen him be so much better. All right, so now we're going to the horror story at camp.
We're going to the backup light, fellas.
So what I was going to say is I give him a lot of shit because I think he can be better because when he is playing at his best, he's a really fucking good corner. When Carlton Davis was out extended period of time 2 seasons ago, he was the man and he did well. He had high PFF grades. He consistently played well. He didn't get interceptions, which you kind of need from a guy you're paying the money he's getting paid. So I think you have to see that next step. You have to see him make plays. You have to see him flip the field for the offense and come up with a play that matters when it matters most. But I just think he could be so much better. That's why I give him so much shit. Zion McCollum, I think he's starting to grow into that role. I think Zion is getting – I kind of feel like I got to trust the coaches for now until I see otherwise. He made a step from year 1 to year 2, Stank. I don't imagine that he won't make a step from year 2 to year 3. And with extended playing time, a little bit more confidence going into the season, knowing that it's his job to lose technically, that's good too. But you also have competition behind him to kind of keep him on fire a little bit. And from everything he said – he's ready for that. He's ready for the responsibility and the acceptance of that competition and rising to the top, which I think makes guys better. I think in years past, we've kind of given the job to Jamel Dean. We've kind of given the job to SMB. We've kind of given the job to Carlton Davis. No offense to those guys. But now you have guys that have to constantly be on their craft, right? They have to be good at this because they have guys behind them chomping at the bit. Guys like Bryce Hall. Guys like, Izzy, guys like Tyke Smith who can get on the field, and if they can, they're gonna force their way on the field. So your job is to keep them off the field, and it's also Todd Bowles' job to get creative and make sure everyone can get on the field who can make plays. But I think having those guys and hopefully an upgraded pass rush is going to make everything better on the back end too.
One thing's for certain: we're upgraded in the middle of the field. Whether Tyke beats out Izzy or not, we've got Whitehead back. I think we'll be a lot more solid, and we've got the best safety in football. So outside, again, it's going to be a question. Jamel's got to prove he can cover the number 1 guy every week. And Carlton had some really good games against some high competition. You can see Jamel's numbers, but he often wasn't facing the number 1 guy the whole time. So it's a completely different ask when you're the guy and you have to try to shut down. It's hard enough with the rules, right? Like you can be Darrelle Revis and still, not have good games just because the rules don't allow you to do a whole lot. So we'll see, man. I think
but when Carlton was out, though, when Carlton was out, saying he did face the number 1 wide receiver.
No, I'm not saying he never did. I'm saying,
and he did well. But again, that's
because it's your job to be that, and you are the guy, right? You're not just covering and filling, and he was hurt quite a bit too. So it's prove it. You got to prove it, man. You're that guy now. You are CB1 every week, and it's going to be your job to shut down their best weapon. For the most part. It's not always going to be the case, but it's going to be the case more often than not. And I'm a little worried. The corner, Bowles and the cornerbacks coach, what's his name? Rapone, they don't seem as concerned. So we'll go back to what Iceman told us, right? Pass rush. It's pass rush. It's pass rush, pass rush, pass rush. You can get away with having a good secondary, if you got the pass rush to make their lives miserable, you go from good to great. And I think we were a good secondary with some great pieces, but the pass rush is going to define whether or not this defense can be great.
I was going to say, so we did talk about Liam Cohen earlier, but we kind of glossed over a little bit of the Baker comments that he made too. So I wanted to get your thoughts because, again, you weren't born a Baker guy, but you became a Baker guy. But I thought it was really telling how much Liam spoke of Baker's confidence. But not just that, he said this feels like Baker's team, and it feels like it's okay to fail. That he's not playing looking over his shoulder. He's not playing, afraid to make a mistake, which I feel like at times last year we talked about it almost every week, that it felt like he was holding back because he was afraid to make that mistake that, might be magnified or might have the coaches looking at Kyle Trask or things of that nature as opposed to playing more freely. And it feels like Liam and he are on the same page, and he feels that Baker has come in, chip on the shoulder, which apparently will never go away, and is confident, but also isn't afraid of making that mistake, which I think is a big deal. When you have a guy like him, that he has to play freely. A guy like Brett Favre, a guy like, even Aaron Rodgers to an extent. Brett Favre. Those guys have to be able to play freely in order to make the plays that they make. You just got to know when to not make a stupid decision, in my opinion. But I think he's matured from when we saw him in Cleveland, a little bit in Carolina, a little bit in LA, which Liam knows him from. But having him come here now, he feels a little more mature and understanding of things, and he's just growing into the same offense, which he already also knows to an extent as well. Stank.
Brandon O'Neill says you can't let Baker play like that. I agree to an extent.
To an extent, but he has to be able to play freely still.
Right. No. Listen. We know this guy has been served up a giant plate of humble pie, and that tends to lead to maturity, right? But yes, he does have a little bit of that Jameis in him, where he will get loose with the ball. He will try to fit the ball in, and that has that little bit of fuck you and that Favre in him when he probably shouldn't. And so there has to be a balance, right? Between, you don't want him not to have that. Clearly he doesn't mind lowering his head and trying to run a motherfucker over. So he has to. That's what makes Baker big. You don't want to neuter the guy either. But now he's got some stability here. He knows this team is committed to him. Nobody knew last year. This guy could have been out of the league right now had he fell on his face, his team fell on his face, or Kyle Trask outplayed him, which clearly wasn't going to happen because Baker was obsessed with proving himself, and he was the leader this team needed after the GOAT left, man. Like that, we didn't even feel the vacuum left behind after the GOAT left the building. That's what's wild, really, when you think about it. Like, it was almost like, all right, thank God Brady's gone, and Bake just filled the hole from an emotional standpoint, which not many people on this planet could do. And he came in with the right attitude, with leadership. That's what won him the job, honestly. He came in and he became the leader of this team right away. Fuck what Kyle did on the field. It wasn't going to matter. Everybody gravitated towards him.
You couldn't deny that as a coach.
I want to see the buddy comedy with him and Tristan Wirfs. It's the most fun ever. They look like they're having the most fun ever. I want to be a part of that, bro. Invite me over. I don't give a shit, bro. I'll bring you all water. I don't really care. I just want to be in the room with you two because it looks so genuine, so fun. And the coaching staff and Jason Light and everybody just continues to praise the guy for his leadership and how he builds camaraderie and relationships with guys on defense too. So
Liam said his best friends are the offensive linemen, not the wide receivers, not the tight, not the running backs, not the guys that are skill position dudes, but the big uglies, the fat guys. Those are the guys he's hanging out with. He's best friends with. You know what? That's awesome because that tells me two things. They want to fight for that guy. And that he's there making sure that he fights for them in terms of not making them look bad. He doesn't want to take a sack. He wants to make sure Tristan, doesn't get hung out to dry, running around like an idiot behind, the offensive line like Jameis used to do to Donovan Smith and Ali Marpet and those guys and make them look a lot worse than they are. So But like you said, man, touching back about that Tom Brady thing, is 2 years removed, Stank, and Liam comes in here and says the first thing I noticed was that this is his team. And it wasn't because Baker told him it's his team. He said, it feels like this is Baker's team. Like,
it is.
After Tom Brady, like, that's huge. How does that, like, and some of these guys played with Tom Brady. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, these guys played with Tom Brady. A lot
of these guys played with Tom Brady.
Right? And for him to come in and say the first thing I noticed is that this feels like it's his team, it's his locker room, these are his guys. He is the captain of this ship. That is massive. That is huge. I know people want to say, oh, that's just coach speak. It's not coach speak. It's not bullshit, because these things matter. When players hear this shit, they know it's not a lie, because you can't lie about this kind of shit, because it's not a good look, and it bites you in the ass. So that's honestly what I think is his true feeling, and that's huge for me.
Yeah, and you want to win for a guy like that. You know, as much as people love Jameis, that shit wore thin, bro. Like, became a point where there was a divide on this team. The defense is like, what do you expect us to do here, man? Like, and on offense as well. So, you know, as long as he's not taking the air out of the building and doing stupid shit and being reckless, if he's out there, and we already know he's going to give his health for the success of this team. And what more can you want as a teammate? You know, that guy is out there swinging and telling motherfuckers to get your weight up. Like, what, bro? Like, okay, we can all comment and laugh at it on Twitter. That's some crazy shit, but that's what you want, right? You will go to war for a guy like that. And I was a Baker hater. Everybody knows I was the biggest Baker hater and converter. I'm converted. You know, we got to meet him in person. So much fucking fun. Did a shot with us. We're the first fans he ever met in this town, you know, and we set the tone. We know that. I think you pulled Baker aside and kind of guided him, said, listen, Bake, this is what I expect from you. You know, I know that the corporate, you know, guys and Jason Light and all those guys, they have to be PC with you, but motherfucker, and you grabbed him. And I was like, whoa, dude, chill out. And you grab Baker and you're like, and you whispered in his ear, can you tell us what you said to him, or is that between you and Bake?
No, it's gonna stay between me and Bake. All right, that's something I would say to a guy in confidence, right? And I want to keep it that way. But I will tell you what I did say, which you did hear, which is audible enough and loud. I told him, hey, fuck what those other guys are telling you. Don't let me down, because that's what's more important. Don't let me down, right? Don't let the fans down. Be you and go out there and bake. And you know what? I think he took it to heart, and he was more afraid of letting me down than anybody else on that, you know, and being close to Jace. He understood what that meant. You know, have the consigliere come over to you and say something to you like that, that's a big deal. That holds weight. And I think he took that to heart, and now he's grown. From that to now, Liam walking in here, ugly ass Liam, seeing this team, saying this is Baker's team, like that, that's a big deal, right? Having that confidence is huge. And I think we're going to see an even better version of Baker now that we're going to have an offensive coordinator who understands ways to put things around Baker that aren't going to hinder him and not put so much pressure on him to win games on his own, right? So that's going to be fun to see. But, you know, some other news, Stank, that came out this week, obviously, everyone's been waiting for the NFL schedule to come out because there's nothing else happening now. So that's a massive event for people.
Rookies reported today, bro. That's huge. That is huge.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
So we know who the opponents are, right? We know the away guy. We know who's coming to town. So I thought I'd play a little game with you here tonight, which is I'd ask you what your schedule hopes and dreams would be for the Buccaneers this season. Like, how do you want this schedule to kind of play out? What's your dream scenario for a bye week? How do you want to start the season? More home games than away games? Who do you wish those opponents to be? Do you want to, you know, do what the University of Florida does, which is play Appalachian State 45 times before they actually play a real opponent? You know, things of that nature. And then obviously, listen, the reason I'm bringing that up is because next Wednesday is the NFL schedule release, and we're going to be live at 8 o'clock. During said schedule release, we're going to react to the schedule. We'll go through it week by week. Of course, I'll make my 17-0 prediction like I do every single season, and we will also most likely decide on air which of those destinations on the away side of things are going to be our Loose Cannons travel crew dates, which are us taking you on a fully inclusive package other than your flight, because we don't know where you're coming from, right? All over the world, all over the country, everywhere. Bucs fans are all over the place.
I thought you were going to say us taking you on a magic carpet ride.
It is kind of a magic. It's a whole new world.
And I pictured you floating up, picking, you know, our guests up, you know, right on the balcony, taking them with you through the clouds. Like that's what I pictured.
Hand extended out. Like, do you trust
Yeah,
me?
like come. That needs
no. Do you
needs to be
trust
the
me?
artwork for that needs to be the artwork for the travel crew.
Listen,
That needs to be the artwork.
Listen,
You
for
see the
those of you in the
process,
chat,
that's all I remember.
those
Yeah.
of you in the chat who have come with us, you guys know it's a whole new
Yeah.
world. When you travel on the road with the Loose Cannons, it includes literally the hotel, 5
Yeah.
stars, of course, because I don't, I gotta have gold thread. All right, so and bidets. Probably not your roofs, but I'll have bidet.
Ish.
Yeah, 5-star-ish. Okay,
Ish.
we include the obviously lower bowl game tickets. All right, we got the VIP Saturday night party where Jason Light and the crew have hung out. We've had Warren Sapp. We've had Legends party with us, and of course Sunday morning tailgate, and of course the game, and all of that included. And if you sign up early, you get some cool bonus things, some gifts, and of course that really badass goodie bag that awaits every single one of you at check-in at the hotel. So next Wednesday, we're going to try to, more likely, we're going to decide which one of those destinations is going to be. And I'm hoping for Kansas City. So back to my original question, Stank. What is your Buccaneers 2024 schedule, hopes, and dreams? Where do you want that bye week? Who do you want to start off with? And where do you want Kansas City or Detroit or the New York Giants? Where do you want that to land on your calendar?
Just based on how it's gone in the past, we know that you're going to have a block of division games at the end of the season. And I think we're going to have kind of a block of division games at the beginning of the season. I say, you want to put your division on notice early. And if you're not going to get one of these prime time games against a playoff contender, then maybe a division game. But you know what? I want Detroit. That's what I want.
Game
want
one.
Detroit. Are they not on our schedule, are they?
No, they are. You want Detroit game 1.
Yeah, I want Detroit week 1. That's what I want.
So we're going to Detroit last year. Hey, last year we started in Minnesota. So it's not unlikely. So you want Detroit week 1 in Detroit.
Bro. I'm tired of hearing about them. Tired of hearing, it's most female fans at the draft. I'm tired of seeing their stupid coach, right? And their brash, haven't won anything to be excited about fan base who came and they came at us hard, right? And you know what? We could have beat y'all last year, and I want another swing at y'all, honestly, because I left a bad taste in my mouth. So week 1,
about Jamel Dean. Could have had a pick 6, could have changed the dynamic of that game. First drive, end up with a field goal instead of a pick 6, 10-point turnaround. The guy we talked about earlier, message being sent, Jamel Dean, catch the fucking ball. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so my hope would be Detroit in prime time, rematch of the playoff game. That would be great. Wouldn't mind seeing one of our division foes like New Orleans week 1. But it would be exciting for this fan base. It might be a good get back game for us, to slay the dragon that slayed us last year. So if you ask me, that's what I hope. And then as far as bye weeks, as late as possible, like the last possible week, that's where you want your bye week. I don't know what that is. Is that week 10? Week 9, week 11, 12? I don't know.
I think it changed. I think now, with the 17th game edition, I think it changed to where I think they go up to maybe week 12 or 13. Last year, I think they had a bye week in week 13, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, give us that.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Do you want a late bye, or do you want it in the middle of the season? Do you want the Bucs to take that rest and then kind of hit that stretch run, last 5-6 games or 4 games in this case, kind of heading into the playoffs? Obviously, kind of trying to maintain that undefeated record coming out of the bye week. Or do you want them to be in middle of the season, get that really that halfway point breather, and then kind of reset down the stretch?
You hope for as late as possible, but you never know. Like sometimes it's a timing thing, right? Maybe you take it on the chin for a couple weeks. You need that bye. You're hurting, you're licking your wounds, and the bye comes a little earlier and helps you get back on track. So it is what it is. I think they need 2 buys. I think we'll probably get that eventually if they add another game, which they're probably going to do at some point. Especially if every team has to travel out of the country at least 1 game of the season. Do we already know if we're not playing overseas this year, right? Do we know that?
I think we only know. This is what's weird. In years past, we've kind of been trickled into the primetime games. We know the Christmas games. We know the Thanksgiving Day games. We would know the opening day opponent.
We probably will know here in the next few days.
But we usually know them a couple weeks beforehand, right? We kind of know them a month in advance sometimes. But this year, the only game we know is that opening week game that's in Mexico, I believe, if I remember correctly, between God knows who. I don't remember who the opponents are by any means, but not my team, so I don't care, right? But that's the only game we know on the entire schedule. We know Kansas City's going to kick off the season, obviously, on Thursday night at home against somebody. Maybe Detroit. I don't know. I don't know if they play them again. They did that last year, so I don't think they'll do that again. But then we also know that first Friday of the season, Stank, is that Mexico game I was talking about, which, again, a Friday game in the NFL hasn't happened in a very long time. I think it hasn't happened since last year's Black Friday games, and then before that, it was the COVID game. Before that, I don't know, years and years and years before we saw a Friday game. So we kick it off right there. So what about, this Kansas City game? Where do you want to see that Kansas City game fall? Do you want to see the Bucs go to, I don't know if they still call it the Meadowlands, but they go to New Jersey to play the Giants at some point? You want that to be a cold game? You want them to kind of stay away from the cold? Or do you want to see the Bucs kind of, slay that bullshit narrative that some people continually still bring up, even though I think it's been slayed?
Yeah, no, that's no longer a thing, right? We play well in the cold. We've been playing well on the road as well. So I don't think it really matters. We usually go on the road and dominate. KC game, I don't want it too late in the winter because I don't want it to step on any of the holidays, because I want to go to Kansas City. I want that to be our travel game, or at least our number one travel game. Maybe we decided to do two. You guys will find out, right? But KC is on all of our wish lists, and I just don't want it to fall on a holiday. Outside of that, I don't really care when it's played in the season. I'm not really scared of that team. I'm not scared of Patrick Mahomes. Bowles already owns that guy, so bring him on.
Yeah, we get a chance to play Dallas. Also, again, in Dallas again. That was a really good trip we went on. That
was a fun trip.
Yep. So I think last time we played Dallas.
Really quick, go over the away game. Go over the away game for me real quick.
It's Dallas, New York Giants, Kansas City, the LA Chargers, the Falcons, the Saints, the Panthers, and the Lions. Right? So somebody in the chat mentioned Evans versus Carlton Davis if we play the Lions, right? But hey, listen, there's rumblings that Carlton Davis might not even be a starter for the Detroit Lions. That's what's crazy right now. Like, knowing some of the people I know in the media in Detroit, he's not just going to be given that spot, and they've drafted guys that you never know. So would I love to see Mike Evans go against Carlton Davis? Absolutely, because I think that is a match made in heaven for the Bucs. That would be amazing. If he's their top corner, which I don't think he is, if he is their top corner in that scenario, or he somehow matches up with the Bucs and then Mike Evans, that'd be awesome. I'm with you, man. I think I want to see Detroit first. I want to see Detroit week 1. Or Dave Canales in week 1. Just because, it's time for the ugly to slay the beautiful bully, right? It's always, the rom-com moment should be week 1, in my opinion. We should see that. Do you want an away game to start the season, Stank, or do you want a home game? Like, what is your preference? I feel like in years past, the Bucs play better when they start on the road, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think we keep with tradition and start on the road in hostile environment and go just put our stamp, our mushroom stamp, right on the back of whoever we're playing. Then you've already knocked one of those away games off the list, right? You're 1-0, and maybe you come home with some confidence. And then we need to take better care and take better ownership of Raymond James Stadium, because just historically we suck in that stadium outside the Super Bowl, which really is the only game that ever mattered, and we won. In that stadium maybe
as far as I'm concerned, we're undefeated at home for the rest of eternity, right?
Yeah.
Because of that one game.
Exactly. So, I think we all the fans want that. We want a winning record at home, because it's just awful experience when you're getting your dick kicked in by an inferior opponent in the heat in your own stadium when you paid $5,000+ for your tickets. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So listen, that's a whole different podcast, whole different one.
Listen, the old adage was win your games at home, and you're more than halfway to a playoff berth, right? Well, this year the Bucs have 9 home games, right? Last year we had 9 away games. This year we have 9 home games with the 17th game added. So we got 9 opportunities to see our team at home. If you win those 9 games, you are 9. You just need 1 or 2 more there, honestly, right? You probably win the division with that. Probably going to get a nice playoff spot with that, whether it's wild card or not. That's a good spot to start. So you got to take care of business. Obviously, it's not easy.
Yeah, I don't think it matters, Sammer, because it's home field disadvantage here in Tampa.
Well, you know what? We saw it last year. Jake came on here. Jake Arian said multiple times, if this team gets on a streak early on and they feel a little bit of that Baker magic, that's going to carry on throughout the entire team. And I think the team, if they go on the road, they beat a team like the Detroit Lions, maybe the Cowboys, maybe the Saints. We've opened up in New Orleans more than a handful of times over the last few years, right? That'd be a fun one. New Orleans, week 1, go up there, punch that team in the mouth, make sure they remember, hey, we are still the champs. This is still our division. You guys don't have any offensive linemen. You guys don't have any cap space. You guys don't have anyone who even throws the ball, to any of the wide receivers right now. So, you know what? Let's go up there and punch those guys in the mouth. I think that'd be my dream scenario. Saints, week 1 in New Orleans, punch them in the mouth, get one road win out of the way, get a division win out of the way, make sure they're sitting in the basement after 1 week in the division. That's a great one right there. Then we just come home after that, confident as hell, and it doesn't matter who we're playing at that point, right? Because we're confident. We just beat the shit
selfishly, of course, that's what I want to see, but I think what's best for this team. And you know what? As you were talking, and I wasn't paying attention to the word you said, I only heard Saints, and then, just got internally angry.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the home field disadvantage thing. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to leave it alone. I'm hoping. I know
we're trying to end this pod, not start a new one.
I know we are, but I want to challenge Baker Mayfield. And when I see him before camp or at camp, I'm going to tell him this. I'm going to challenge him because somebody needs to say it, bro. Like what they did in Detroit, and fuck Detroit, by the way. What they did in Detroit, which is take one of the historically dog shittiest franchises on the planet and build a bully and build a feeling like, that took a dog to get up and bark at the fans and challenge the fans to come. And we were never really had that. I feel like Baker could be that guy to challenge his fan base, to show the fuck up, right? And that's what I want to see, because home, away doesn't fucking matter for this team, and it hasn't for a long fucking time. It sucks to say that, but we fold in our own home and give up the ass all the time, and I'm fucking sick of it. And you know what? We got 90 days to try to build some momentum towards, something different this season, because it's got to stop at some point, right? Doesn't it? Or are we always going to be the laughing stock and have our stadium half filled of the other fucking fans?
I think some of that stink is the area we live in. But again, when historically you look back,
hearing it. There's enough fans to fill the stadium.
No, I get it. When the team is winning, they fill up. And when the team is winning, they stand up, they get loud. The stadium is a rocking place to be. And I think Baker maybe he's going to say that now that he knows his job is no longer on the cliff there. There's no uncertainty there. He can stand up and be like, hey, get your asses to the fucking stadium. Get there early for once. How about you guys come out there and actually hang out in the stadium before the game, so we're not kicking off with a 35, 45, 50% filled stadium because everyone's in line at those stupid concession stands, right? Get your food, sit your ass down in the heat, and wait for kickoff. Just like Stank does. He's got 3 beers. You're like 3-4 beers deep before the game's before they even do the flyover. Yeah. They don't
a lot of times I don't even know where I'm at by kickoff, and then I
that's how it should be.
Comes back into focus, midway through the second quarter, and I'm out there cheering for the right team. So yeah, that's a typical day for me. And maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll show up sober and excited if I know that this team is going to come out and punch somebody in the mouth. Because I have to sit through one more absolutely drumming, with the fan base full of the opposing fans like we did with Philly last year, which, listen, I've said this many times. I'm not a violent person, bro, but there's good thing there's like not anything within reach of me actually getting violent out there. It's that unnerving. And yeah. So anyways, I'm just rambling. You can end the fucking show.
Listen. I hope we get that mid-season bye. All right. I hope we start with the Saints, and I hope obviously we end with the Saints. I want to make sure that we send that message and solidify it. Let's lock up the division. We got 9 home games, Stank.
Have you ever seen this?
Win 8 or 9 of those. That's too many.
Cookie, bro?
That's too many.
Have you ever seen that many on a chocolate chip?
That's the Liam Cohen of chocolate chip cookies. That's an ugly ass cookie, and you're eating it too. All right, listen. Before I end the show, if you guys enjoyed this and you are new, please hit the subscribe button. Those of you who love us already, don't forget to hit the like button on your way out. And if there's anything that we said that you disagreed with, which is probably like 99% possible, leave it in the comment section.
Not possible.
We don't read it. No one cares what you write down there, but go ahead and please do so, because it's hilarious to somebody out there. And maybe somebody will become your best friend because they also don't like Stank or don't like me the same amount that you don't like me.
Yeah, I challenge all of you. Narav, you won't leave a fucking comment. You piece of shit. Sal, 319, I bet you won't leave a comment, motherfucker. Wayne Poole, I love you, bro. I bet you won't talk shit to me in the comments. Al Bundy. All right, so all of y'all are scared to leave a comment, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Listen, hey, Those of you who enjoyed it, like I said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to show love to our sponsor, Omni Energy. Go to omnienergydrink.com, order any one of their flavors or the variety pack. Listen, all 3 of them taste fucking delicious, and they give you energy. They don't have a crash. They have 0 sugar. They are only 10 calories a can. They taste phenomenal.
Well, somebody asked earlier how many milligrams of caffeine? 200, just like Celsius.
Yeah, and
just
you know
like
what?
this.
Natural caffeine from green tea leaves.
Green tea?
It tastes amazing. Like I said, just give it a shot, man. Show them some love. They are a massive brand that is growing. If you know anything about Steel Supplement, that's the company that's given birth to Omni Energy Drink. I absolutely love them. You will too. Show them some love. Stank, any last words? Poppy Latte, by the way, shout it again to Poppy Latte out there. Stink, any last words for the ugly coach?
His beautiful wife, Angie, the love and attention she deserves, while, our wives are just, probably pissed at us right now and wondering why we're not doing the same. So sorry, babe. Sammer said I had to record again tonight.
Yeah. Hey, you work for me, Stink, not Mother's Day. All right.
I don't
Hallmark. You don't work for Hallmark. All right. You work for me. Hey, all those mothers out there, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Mother's Day. Right? And also enjoy Father's Day, Mother.
Wait. Go full screen. Go full screen. No. Message. Message to the mothers from Sam Raleigh.
Enjoy your Mother's Day.
You folded the pressure.
I don't. What do you want me to say? Happy Mother. I'm not a nice guy. Everyone knows that. There's no sugarcoating it. All right. I may be an asshole, but I'm not ugly like certain guy we know. Who, by the way, I cannot wait to hang out with him, because that dude feels like a dude, like that guy could be our best friend. Tell me you don't be best friend vibes from Liam Cohen.
Definitely. Definitely. I feel like he's gonna punch me too. Just like Jason Light does every time I see him, and really all the coaches abuse me every time I'm around them. So Liam's probably not gonna be any different.
Listen, it's the chicken liver thing. You look like a guy that eats liver. All right.
What? Why does that matter? Do you want to punch a guy that looks like he eats chicken livers?
Yeah. You look like a guy can punch and push over, and nothing really gonna. Like, I could push you into a mailbox and be like, shucks. You got something about you, man. I don't know.
Wow. I'm a punchable guy.
Yeah.
Like Sean Payton. At least my face is a punchable.
See you guys next Wednesday for the Bucs schedule release, when we go down and give you game by game breakdown that you need to hear. Obviously,
you need to hear it. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, you better right now. Bye.
Go Bucs.
Peace.